One of the points he made that struck me was that he said if we create momentum, we will get the goals that we deserve. Did they create a lot of momentum in that game, Arsenal? We looked at how much possession they had. Did they also have momentum, do you think?
I think there was a little bit of momentum in the crowd, but in the final third, I would say no. There was question marks with Trossard starting. I thought it would have went with Eze, although he didn't do well in the Champions League in the week. And then he brings off Marino as well and brings in Saka, understandably because he's coming from a hamstring. And I was always against what Jamie used to say is Arsenal just want to play to draw the game when they're playing in the big games. But I just feel like he's got the players, he's got the squad now to go for it a little bit more. And I'm not saying that he's negative because you're coming up against Man City, who historically have been very good and they dominate possession and they don't know what game he's going to be. I think Pep's always a step ahead. Look, he's been his understudy, he's been his assistant, so he knows how Pep thinks and thinks, well, Pep might do something different today. But in terms of what Arsenal have now, they have enough to be competing with the best teams, and I still think they've got the handbrake on. If they take it off just a little bit, they'll be more exciting. That momentum that you talked about.
They won this fixture 5-1 last season.
Yeah, but that's not
a handbrake performance.
But that was Man City who weren't at the best. They was going through a difficult spell. We seen the interview with Bernardo Silva before the game, and he said the confidence was low, nothing was right at that period of time. I just think they have the players to go for it now, and if he wants to go for it, it'll give him a better chance of winning this league.
Yeah, I just think they wasted 45 minutes. I mean, Man City are a title rival right now because of what they've done in the past. But they've had a poor start to the season by their standards. I think most people in this country would say the title will be between Arsenal and Liverpool. And I couldn't see any way coming into this game with how strong I feel Arsenal. I think Arsenal are a brilliant team. For me, the best squad in the Premier League. And I thought they would not win comfortably, but I thought they just come here and win 2-0 against Manchester City today. And Mikel Arteta has got a team and a squad who are that close to being really, really special in terms of winning a Premier League and maybe even winning a Champions League. I think they're that good. But time after time, when it comes to these big games, he picks a team that feels like he's thinking more about the opposition. And that doesn't mean you can't win the league. Jose Mourinho's won the Premier League 3 times. He was a little bit like that. But as I said, for me, that was a waste for 45 minutes. And the reason I'm saying that is because I played for managers like that at Liverpool, and we were really close. We were a very top team, but we never won the Premier League. We won a Champions League, got to a Champions League final. We were a great side. But I always felt at times under Gerard Houllier and Rafa Benitez, maybe we had the handbrake on, as Mike has just said. Now when I get in certain games, I look back at situations, and that is what Mikel Arteta's doing. Liverpool, I won't change my mind, were there for the taking in that second half at Anfield. Man City were there for the taking at the start of this game, and he's allowed them to come into the game. And it's just a recurring pattern season after season. And if you're Mikel Arteta and Arsenal or an Arsenal sport, you've just got to hope that doesn't cost you at the end of the season, because they are a brilliant team. They've got a fantastic squad, but the margins are so small.
I know you can't read Mikel Arteta's mind, but just give us some insight into a sort of manager's perspective on this. When he knows that Manchester City have played on the Thursday night, that he will, as Pep Guardiola said they did, start to maybe tire, even if it's just mentally towards the end of the game, that they may be that focus that we saw at the end when Arsenal did get their goal just slips for a split second. Is there a sense that Arteta was maybe waiting to build into the game?
Yeah, well, Jamie mentioned working for managers who are very defensive-minded. The few managers I've played under, particularly at club level, I always thought were gamblers. Brian Clough and Alex Ferguson. They were gamblers. They were all about winning and not waiting and not worrying too much about the opposition. Now, people might say, well, that's because you always had the best players. No, always. Not every season at Man United, and certainly not at Forest. So I felt the managers I worked under